But I think what we need to understand is that forgiveness, we often equate to some things about it that aren't necessarily true. A lot of us, when we were kids, we were taught, forgive and forget. Well, here's a reality. I don't, I haven't forgotten what my dad did. I still can see myself as a little 9-year-old kid sitting in my living room on the big orange pillow watching him walk out. That's a visual I have in my head forever. I haven't forgotten. But what I have chosen to do is release my anger, release what I wish was, release, the hurt and all of that to God and allow him to be the judge. Because that's what the scripture says, is that he is the judge, not me. And so when I keep unforgiveness in my life, it's impacting my relationship with God, number one. It's also impacting my relationship I have with the people that I want to trust. That's part of my story too, is so badly I wanted to trust Laura, but every morning I woke up, Jeff, thinking that when Laura and I first got married, I woke up fearing that that was the day she was going to leave, because that was my story. And so, but when I began to go through the steps of forgiveness and releasing that to God and allowing him to just foster whatever he wanted to foster out of that, that's what brought freedom into my life. So forgiveness is not forgetting. It doesn't mean that you trust that person. Forgiveness doesn't mean that even a relationship has to be reestablished. Sometimes safety wise, it shouldn't be established, and that's okay. But forgiveness is releasing it to God and saying, I don't want this to control me anymore. I don't want this to hinder my relationships with God or with others anymore. And that, so first it starts with believing forgiveness is possible. Then it's understanding that, man, forgiveness brings freedom into our lives. And then what forgiveness does, it does keep the hope for restoration alive. It may not happen, and it may not happen the way you think it's going to happen. But without forgiveness, restoration is not going to happen for sure.
So does that prayer look like, here is my dad. Can you carry this? You know all about my dad. God, can you carry this? And is that what that prayer looks like? Can you carry my son? Just like, I don't want to carry this anymore. It's damaging to me. Can you just carry this? Is that what that prayer looks like?
I think that that's a piece of it for sure. But then it's also understanding that forgiveness is not one and done, because there's times where I think that things flood our heart and our mind again, and we can feel anger arise, and then we get, nope, God, I'm re-releasing this to you. I'm re-releasing
Yeah, it's
this.
daily. I mean, it's daily, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And then the other part of it is just, I think it's when we begin to pray for the other person, and not in a way that says, okay, man, get him, but
Uh,
it's but it's in a way of saying, would you, because I what I wanted more than anything, when I began to really understand what following Jesus was like in my life, Jeff, I so badly wanted my dad to experience that. Like, that was something that I felt deep within me, that that I wanted him to experience that same freedom. The same way that I want we had almost 5,000 guys in the Premier Center, at the summit this year. I so badly want each one of those guys from age 14 up to 84 to understand the freedom that they can have in their life from a relationship with God. Does it make it perfect? No. John 16:33, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, for I've overcome the world. So that's what I want. And when I began to really pray that, Jeff, for my dad, then all of a sudden my heart began to shift so much more. And it's really hard to be angry with someone when you begin to pray for them wholeheartedly and say, I just want them to experience your love, Jesus, because it's really hard to be angry and carry hatred and all of that. Did that mean that I would, of course I wish that things would have been different. Of course, I wish I wouldn't have had to grieve the loss of my childhood or whatever in that way. Um, but I could also celebrate God's goodness in that.